A long time ago, according to Māori mythology, Tunaroa was a person who left the heavens to escape the heat of the sun. He took refuge in our waters where he remained undetected for many years until one day Hinanui Te Pō was bathing near his river. Enchanted by her beauty, Tunaroa approached her, but she fled to tell her husband Maui. Concerned for his wife, Maui planned a trap for Tunaroa, fashioning a hinaki from plants, which he stretched across a fast-moving section of the river. The next day, Maui returned to find Tunaroa caught fast. Without hesitation, he cut Tunaroa into 3 pieces, tossing Tunaroa's head into the ocean where he became the conga eel, his body into the forest to become the vines, and his tail into the rivers to become the freshwater eel, and one of the many customary foods the Māori eat to this day.
There it is. Right? And just keep on going till you hit camp, and I'll probably pass it on.
You can see up here. Yeah. Welcome. Give you a hug.
In our creation story, seeds were brought from the other side of the sky. With the first woman that fell here, she brought them, which also indicates that women are protectors of seed. I'm Nikki Otten from Tainanega. I'm currently acting, I guess, as a part of the expert advisory circle on the Living Relations Project. Hi.
Hi, Nikki, so you're in there.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. I work at First Nations Technical Institute as an instructor, and I do a lot of food work, environmental work. My grandson, which is really the whole reason I do the work, is, to hope that those kids will have the knowledge they need to grow their own food as well. So this is my tobacco pouch that I will use when I do my introduction to the land and to the water. I like to do that whenever I go into another territory that I've not been to before, so that I can get to know the land can get to know me as well, and the waters, and just set my intention for what's happening here the next few days. And the water drum is a Haudenosaunee water drum that I brought just to share with all the people. Maybe sing a song.
Kia ora mai tātou, ko Iana Hania ho. My name is Iana Hania. I'm from Aotearoa, New Zealand. I'm of the Ngāti Tūwharetoa, Ngāti Raukautua ki te Tonga, Ngāti Tama, me te Ataua hoki. Kia ora mai. Translation of that song, it is with love, and it is with integrity, and it is with truth, and with peace that we come here to be with you. My whole life was outdoors. My father came from a farm in Holland, and although we never lived on a farm, he would have friends and we'd go and stay with people on farms as well. So both the kind of recreational gathering food aspect to it, as well as what farms did and how you were to be a farmer in my kind of childhood. So I really wanted to apply my life skills to not just the environmental aspect, but the interface of humans, and particularly Indigenous ways of learning with food and the environment.
Show everyone quickly. I'd like to introduce Michael Paul from Bear Island, and he's the chief of the Ogama of Tamagami Anishinaabe and second chief of the Tamagami First Nation.
In Māori, most of the language we would say comes from the land. So we have to listen.
The creator, Geshe Manito, placed the Temiagami Anishinaabe on Undakumanan, our land, at Ishpatina Ridge more than 8,000 years ago. Ishpatina, meaning where the land goes up, is the highest point of land in what we now call Ontario. Here on Undakumanan, there were gifts given to us to look after: fire, water, earth, and wind. We are Temiagami Anishinaabe, the people of the deep water by the shore. Throughout all time, we have maintained our distinct territory, our language, culture, and governing authority to care for Undakumanan. Our land holds our creation, our ancestors, and all that we need to live a good life, the Modsawin. We've invited our Living Relations team here to share stories about how Indigenous peoples are working to protect our lands, waters, and food, and to honor and share principles that will guide our work together.
We're only out here to do a couple things. One is enjoy the beautiful sunset. This is just to kind of break the ice a bit and get to know one another who you might not have talked to yet.
Mentally, I have a lot going on in my brain about the next few days, about all the conversations, about all my own thoughts, about my contributions. But yeah, just excited to share stories with everyone and really dive into what exactly we're going to be doing here as we move forward.
I think the thematic, the storytelling, the food sovereignty, the Indigenous kind of authority, tino rangatiratanga issues we're talking to are so relevant for us back at home. There's lots to talk about and lots to do, but at this point in this project, it is about relationships.
Yo ha yo way I, yo ha yo way I, yo ha yo way I, hey hey. Yo ha yo ha way I, yo ha yo ha way I, yo ha yo ha way I, yo ha yo way I. Good morning. What's going on? Welcome you this morning to this beautiful day. We're going to do a little bit of ceremony this morning. I've asked Gabriel to offer a smudge with a sage. It comes from the plains, and there are some different varieties of sage in Anishinaabeg territory. And so Anishinaabeg are smudge folk. I'm also going to do a Thanksgiving, so we're here for a few days together. I'm going to do it today. I won't do it again every day. I'll do it on the last day when we close.
Living relations, sharing stories of decolonizing food system sustainability transitions.
We're exploring what is currently happening in our collective spaces.
Te Wai Sing, Te Awa Whiria relate to bringing worldviews together. So what might we do that can help us get through the crises that we're in?
Everyone's in a very precarious situation with regards to food supply. Corporate food sources is a supply chain, can be broken at any time.
We have to stop saying it's the next generation's responsibility, and we have to take responsibility now.
Building those little systems where everybody feels like they own a piece of it too.
A sustainable transition, a move past capitalism, a move past the raping of the earth that we're seeing needs to happen everywhere.
It's really exciting bringing into conversation tactical insights, figure out like pieces of legislation to offer certain protections.
Trying to learn from what's been done by various First Nations in Canada around just asserting and practicing inherent rights.
In a lot of, food studies or food systems writing, fisheries are often not that present.
We've been talking about fishing contexts and the way that Maori and Indigenous people in Canada have, quote unquote, won access to fishing.
How do we give back to the eo and what some of the cultural practices that we can implement, and especially with some of the stresses that is impacting the eel populations globally?
The resurgence of cultural practices and the resurgence of connection to land, but it's also the resurgence of health, because those two things are so linked.
Food is connection, food is the spirit, food is everything that connects us to the human, the more than human worlds.
Hearing about the similarities of the challenges and opportunities are really useful in moving the conversations forward.
Connecting with other Indigenous cultures allows us to be aware of what we are not doing and potentially what we could be aspiring to do.
The separation that has occurred through colonisation, capitalism, etc., has affected all of us.
We literally operate on different time zones, but our shared history and similarities and the opportunity to support one another really inspires me. And I just wanted to low-key ask, do you like sweet potato?
Kokorima waiata ia mai ki te hoa kere kere matatu tu a whiorangi te aho mai rā ki a hau. There's some core values in Māori cosmology. One of the core ones is whakapapa, which literally means to be with the ground, but it also means your genealogical connection to everything. And we also talk about manaakitanga, which means how to uplift the mana or the prestige or authority or wellness in some ways to all of those around you. And then there's tino rangatiratanga, which literally translates to weaving groups of people together. But in a sort of more contemporary context for Māori, it means self-autonomy, self-leadership. And so if you think about that set of values and then those seeing with two eyes and te awa whiria, they both mean to me weaving together worldviews in a way that can resonate for better outcomes.
I think that the biggest challenge is that from a Western lens, it comes with a dominance bias, that Western knowledge and science is dominant to all other knowledges and sciences. And there are many in the world, and they all come with pros and cons, you know? And so we have to be aware of those things. The challenge is that we have to be able to get over ourselves to allow for other knowledges and hear them and see them and really see the underlying messages and knowledge creation that's happening so that we can build something new and different. And so being here and connecting to this land really grounds us in the Anishinaabeg knowledge and the relationships with land and food and water and all of those beings.
People will walk back there and you'll see the moose tracks going in and you won't see them coming out.
By us sharing these stories, we're also sharing it with the land. When we are building relationships here between us in this project, it's the same effort that we need to make in our relationship building with the land, with the water, with our food systems. And so as we engage in relationship building with the earth, with all of those things about the earth, we're bringing that back to this project. And as we build those relationships in the project, we're bringing that back to the land. We're holding each other's knowledge. And so every time we gather on this land, Temagami land is going to hold that knowledge for its future generations.
It's an honour to sit with you and share food and share stories and share love. For us in New Zealand, we have very similar struggles with coloniality and capitalism and all the same challenges that I see here. So I'm hoping that with our journey and with our sharing, we can actually encourage each other and share some learnings and hopefully in solidarity move through the challenges that are in front of us.
I'm constantly wondering how the communities at home can be uplifted as part of this. I think that we have a lot to learn from what's happening here. Because what I heard from them was a huge amount of wisdom, a huge amount of grace, and a huge amount of deep thinking around how to collectivise.
The legal person element of Taranaki Maunga in the North Island of New Zealand is going to be recognised officially in law.
Being at Bear Island and seeing the engagement of the people there, the active listening that was happening, you know, the nods of agreement or the surprised faces when they heard something that, you know, really took them aback, was really incredible. And I think that there was really a lot of resonance with the work that the Maori are doing.
Spoke a lot about eel. Chief Paul, who's been looking after us and talks so much about getting out on the land and those traditional customs. So I have these two smoked jerky eels for you.
I brought a Three Sisters garden in a bag. So there's corned beans and squash.
Thank you for allowing us to come here and listen to your stories and share stories with you, but also in recognition of us as native to our lands and our shared histories, irrespective of where we are. So thank you.
You know, from what I heard from the questions and from their own experiences, the Temagami Nation on Bear Island really is looking on how to collectivise well around a common purpose to start to enact It was such a privilege. My cup is full from listening.
The slow building of relationships has been very important. And I love that one of the members, Charles, was talking about, as a researcher, it's really hard to think about. Generally, there's a research question, then we figure all this stuff out later. And now we're doing all this stuff first, and we're still not 100% sure what the research question is. And I think that is exactly what Indigenous methodology is. It's like, let the earth tell us what it needs. Let the people tell us what they need. And then we'll figure out how to do that. We're gonna negotiate with the river how to be in a relationship. We're gonna negotiate with Bear Island. We're gonna negotiate with each other how we're gonna be in those relationships. And through that building of relationship and building of trust, then stories and questions will emerge. And then our research piece will come. And that's spirit. That's the spirit that's missing in most Western research.
I see already some really common thematics. There's some coherency of kind of symbolic, what we call po. They're kind of strong story start points or value points that we need to integrate deeply in how we are as individual beings and more so how those individuals actually genuinely weave in relationship with others. So if we can find, really useful ways for the communities we serve to either, emphasize or enable, inspire, uplift them, then I think we would have done a good job.
Cool, okay. So I'm gonna facilitate something for us, and that's on a really good note as we go into our end of ceremony. And so we're going to learn a waiata, which is a song, and we customarily do it after people have shared like a speech or something. The idea of this waiata is about connecting and uniting people from different tribes or different cultures and bringing them together through love and unity.
So when I came, I was very excited to share my stories, the stories of the places I'm involved with, and hear about what other folks are doing. For me, it was really profound to hear that we're all doing the same thing, that we're really working towards the same goals, all in different ways, and to see the vast community that has to come together to make that happen. I really recognize how much bigger it is than one person, how much bigger it is than one community, right? And so that's the big takeaway that I really am bringing with me when I leave this place is it's bigger than my group here at the Seed Sanctuary. It's bigger than this group over at the Highway 15 Garden. It's lawyers and it's advocates and it's activists and it's so many people that need to come together. We need champions on so many different levels to take part in the work that's being done to get to the places that we all need to go for the collective, not just for the Indigenous collective, for all of our collective benefit.
The challenges that are facing the world, many of us as individuals, as tribes, as collectives, are tough. It's hard. Climate change, biodiversity loss, geopolitical instability, it can feel completely overwhelming. And I've been there. I've felt the depression of that and I've felt the hurt. I think it's beholden upon us to look to see the trauma that has caused intergenerationally and now, and understand that we've all been separated by these tools from our places, from ourselves, from our family, and from our rituals and ways. So the relearning, the unlearning, and putting forth to grow, to be the society, to be the humans, to be the collectives that we really need to be to serve the earth, to serve the waters, to serve the mountains, to serve each other with humility and with courage is absolutely what we need to be thinking about. So let's do that.
So the other thing that I like to do before we part is break our minds apart. Listen well for a short time, all of you. I'm going to pass the words of the Thanksgiving address and close up the business of these last few days. I will gather our minds together as one and give thanks and greetings to all the people that continue to think in a peaceful way, to all the people that are here today and to all those who couldn't be here. And with that, our minds are one.